Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and let's talk about Nagy and Trubisky for the final time. Before I get started, I will say this is what happened. I recorded all of Mitch Trubisky's throws on a film session, and I had a mini heart attack because the audio was not right. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'll record it later. And I did it again. I realized the audio, something was wrong with my mic. And I thought that my mic was broken, but I was able to just reset my computer and everything worked out. So anyway, with that being said, that video I'll re-record it and upload it tonight. So you'll be able to see every Mitch Trubisky throw as I go through it. But watching that got me to this point of where I'm about to say. So I know the title will be I'm admit I'm wrong, and I'm going to admit that I'm wrong to an extent, not exactly full out, and that's not me covering myself, but I'll work through kind of what I'm thinking. First of all, I'll start with Matt Nagy. The play calling I am not a fan of, and you'll see as we go through the film. Last week with the Saints, and then this week, and then I'm curious to go through other weeks this season to see if it's been the same. But to me, it's just very unimaginative. Now, the part we got to break this up because there's the section of people that's like Matt Nagy is a bad play caller. And the reason I automatically fight against that, because I'm not into like those type of definitive labels with a lot of things, but especially in football, because everybody's in hyperbole. Everybody's in extremes. Oh, this player sucks. This player's a bust. And they have a good game. Well, they're good. No. Just because you're not doing well now doesn't mean that's what you are. So has he been bad at play calling? I think so. And I would say that I could admit that. And I didn't feel that way, but of course, getting to the film, I'm able to at least have a leg to stand on with that opinion. There's a lot of people that's just like it's trash because it didn't work. And if it does work, then everybody wants to, label you a genius. I think at least going to the film and looking at it, now I can say that I'm not a fan of it. And I don't think that's the reason at all why we're losing or anything like that. But I do think his play calling has been unimaginative. And I'm not talking about run-pass ratio, when to run, when all that. Like, situational game calling, I think is what people get confused with. But I mean, like, his actual play designs and the plays that he are, having offense run. I do think it's been limited and unimaginative in certain aspects. And, again, if you watch the breakdown, you'll see what I'm talking about with this curl concept. That's where I go back to. I'm fine with running a play a healthy amount of times, especially to set up something else, which we set up the defense a couple times running those curls so many times. But, I'm thinking like you got your bread and butter plays that I want to run 5 to 7 times a game. But we ran this stuff like almost 20 times a game. And it's just like, to me, there's no excuse in the NFL for you to run the same concept over and over. I don't care how many motions and shifts and formations you run it out of. You're running the same concept over and over. And granted, I get that you can get yards with it because people are playing in the box, because they don't think you can do anything on them and they're giving you cushion. So I get it. Granted, you could get yards on it. It's just very unimaginative, especially with the players that we have at receiver. I think we could be doing a lot more attacking the field in different ways. Again, there's play calls with vertical routes. There's different levels to it. So it's not like we're all just running short routes. But to me, it's very unimaginative. And I would say go to the film if you want to see more what I'm talking about. So a lot of people saying he's a bad play caller. Look, when he came in, I was the first one to tell you this dude barely called plays for the Chiefs and all this, and people jumped on me about it. So trust me, I understand, but I don't think he's a bad play caller. From the things that I've seen him run, from the things that I've seen him in, practice and talk and hearing him talk, the concepts, the stuff that he learned from Andy Reid, I think he definitely knows how to create plays. And I've seen many plays where I understand the design, we just didn't execute it. And again, if it doesn't execute, people want to blame, oh, that play call was terrible. That's not always the case. I think he understands how to attack offense. This leads to my next point. I have to admit I was wrong about him holding Trubisky, or not holding Trubisky back. I think he's been holding the playbook back for Trubisky. And so I think the reason I fought against that is because, again, a lot of people was like, oh, they're handicapping him, not letting him throw downfield. And I'm like, dude, the coaches don't throw the ball for him. Trubisky chooses where to throw the ball. Nagy is giving him vertical options and short options. And technically that is true. For the most part, with the curl concepts, we run a vertical down the field as well. But that's more of a distraction. And so I was thinking, like, why else would a coach with this, who I believe actually knows how to design and run the offense, why would he run this concept so many times? And then you got no other choice but to think either he just really wants to give Trubisky a chance to make easy throws because they're just really easy curls over the middle, and he likes to force it to Allen Robinson. And yes, it could set a defense up. It could get them to go to sleep, and then you could hit some vertical after that. But still, it's just like, this is too much. Why are we running this so much? And it's an easier read. It's a quicker throw, and it's not a throw you got to be super accurate on every time. And so I'm watching this, and I'm watching Trubisky like really lock in. He knows where he wants to go with it. And I'm just like, yeah, he's doing this because he doesn't trust Trubisky to do a lot. And I'll talk more about the game on the other video, but to the point of not trying to gain yards at the end of the game, I don't care. It's philosophical. As I said, the ball had enough distance. It wasn't a distance problem. It was a 41-yard field goal that's makeable. And so, to me, some coaches, and I'll mention again, some coaches will attack. Some people will take shots at the end zone. Some people will only run. And some people will just, down the ball and take the safe field goal, go home with a win. I don't care. It's philosophical. Either one is fine. You can win with either one. So I'm not mad about that. But it did, knowing Nagy's tendencies, it did make me feel like he just doesn't trust Trubisky to throw the ball towards the end zone and take a shot without messing up. And that might be reading into it, but overall, I'm just looking at the last 2 weeks. And again, I'm going to go back and look at other games to make sure I'm correct in this. But it just looks like he's really trying to manage what Trubisky has to do. But it's such an ineffective way, in my opinion. Because, look, Deshaun Watson, his rookie year, he was being managed. Like, as much as people want to go crazy, the way they ran him and then play action to certain bootleg plays, like that stuff was designed so he didn't have to think much and he could just, get easy success plays. Same thing with Lamar Jackson last year. So there's ways to do it that's more effective than what we're doing, in my opinion. And so I do have to take the bullet on that one to say I do think that now. I don't think, again, there's times when Trubisky has options to do something else and he doesn't choose to. That's on him. That's not on the coaches. But I do think they have limited the playbook a lot because of Trubisky. And so going forward and kind of talking about what I feel, the thing is Matt Nagy was a coach of the year last year, and now people are talking about firing him. That's ridiculous. While I understand this is a guy that is really just responsible for one side of the ball, head coaches still are in charge of the whole team. So it's not just play calling. It's not just, he's offense. You are in charge of the whole scope. So I'll say there's more to it than that. But at the same time, I will say this is his second year as a head coach. And not only that, he was only a coordinator for a year? And that's the thing. When people want to jump on this trend of get a quarterback, get a young offensive guru, and just let the defense handle itself, like, this is what you're going to get. Same thing with Freddie Kitchens and everybody else. This is what you're going to get. You have a person that hasn't been in those situations. It's not the same as getting a coordinator who's a 10-year vet and has been in many game situations. This is not the same. He has to learn, tempo. He has to learn play calling, situational play calling. He has to learn clock management. I was on him all last year about clock management. I think he's better this year, but it's only his second year. You're asking to fire a dude that was coach of the year. I mean, again, people give way too much success and too much blame to coaches and quarterbacks. But if you was happy to sit here and see what we did last year, you have to believe that he has some type of talent. And so to say, okay, this dude, his second year ever been a head coach, not just the second year here, but second year ever been a head coach, let's fire him. I don't agree with that. And so I don't blame Nagy in that way. So again, I think he's having a stretch of bad play calling. I don't know if he's a bad play caller. I would need to see more. I think he is being limited by Trubisky and trying to make it work with Trubisky. And then as far as Trubisky, I've said this. If you don't check the post I do, I've said it there. Trubisky to me is a guy that has all the physical tools to be an NFL quarterback. I just don't think it's going to happen with us. I think that much like other players we've seen, he needs a change of scenery, a place where he doesn't have the expectations, where he could maybe learn for a year and be rebuilt up in his confidence and everything. Because I think much like Tannehill, much like Bridgewater, much like other players, Tyrod Taylor, people that we've seen like surge back, I just think he needs to reset. I don't think his destiny is number 2 pick of the Chicago Bears, be the leader, for us. I think he had too much weight on his shoulders. And from day one, I said his wheels are always spinning. And now it looks like the wheels are just kind of off. So, again, I think he can be directed and coached, to do certain things and be productive. But I just don't think it's with us. And so we'll go through the rest of this year and see what happens. But I don't see him ever being the franchise quarterback guy that some people, demand from him. And then from Nagy, I think he has talented on the offensive side. I think he has a good mind. I do think he's a good motivator and leader. I'm not in that locker room, so I can't say 100%. But I think he definitely has a future here as well. Sometimes when you're looking for answers, the simplest answer that's in front of you was the one the whole time. People's asking, what's wrong? Why we lose? Why is this? Why is that? It's very simple. Nagy is a second-time head coach. That's it. This is second year as a head coach. He's learning. Everybody wants everything right now. He is learning. And as far as Trubisky, he's a limited quarterback that is just really too afraid to make mistakes. And he doesn't want to take that chance because he is clearly playing with the pressure of delivering for Chicago. And so you see this a lot with young players, that especially ones that aren't tested. They go with what works. I said this real early and people tried to get on me. I was like, I don't like Trubisky running a lot because that's a sign that he's not trying to push himself to grow. Because he says running works, so I'm going to keep running. Now it's Allen Robinson works, so I'm going to force it to him. The defense works, so I'm not going to try to make a mistake and just let them win the game for us. And I just don't think he has it in him to push it forward, at least not with us. I think if he's in Chicago right now, I think he's always going to be trying to push to be what everybody built him up to be. I think if he could get away and go be on the bench somewhere else, he could really reprioritize and be a better quarterback. So, of course, I'm going to keep covering the Bears and everything from now on. But just from now on, like, this is what it is. And for some reason, I know why, because of sports media, people think every week something has changed. People are who they are. Like, you know what I mean? You collect the evidence and you go forward with an opinion. Like, but people want to come back week after week. What changed? What changed? Is he great now? Is he elite now? No. I think Nagy is what he is this year, and so is Trubisky. I think the team is what we are, what I said we are. Dennis Green. But I think we're a competitive team that, can play with teams. And if we get lucky breaks, we could win the game. I think we have enough talent to do that, but I don't think we have enough talent and enough experience to just, go far. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. So if you listen to the end of this, go ahead and put Dicka in the comment sections when you make a comment. Share the comments around or share the video around. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.